What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about what happened in Canada in 2024. Happy New Year, everybody! We've officially entered the future. 2025. Honestly, a very satisfying sounding number. I'm hoping it's going to be a good year. 2025 sounds good, but before we all sail off into the sunset together, I thought it'd be very interesting to learn about everything major that occurred in Canada in the last year. So this is the 2024 Canada recap. Let's take a look.
History was made in Toronto with the first ever professional women's hockey league game.
Oh!
All the little girls that look up and go, I'm going to be like her one day.
Women's professional hockey league? There was no professional women's hockey league in Canada. I guess that's not that crazy. I don't think there's a professional women's league in America. Not that I know of. I don't really follow hockey, though. Anyway, if there wasn't, apparently there wasn't, that's great. Now there is. I imagine there's tons of Canadian women hockey players that would want a pro league. That's awesome.
A federal court has ruled the government's use of the Emergencies Act during the convoy protests back in 2022 was not justified.
We do not agree. We will be appealing.
We're setting a national application.
Right. So this story was, I like to do videos every week or so where I try to look at the Canadian news and events just so as an American I can try to keep up with stuff happening in Canada, because here in America we never hear about Canadian news. Like hardly ever. The only things I can remember is the wildfire that the smoke came into New York and all the Americans were like, Canada, take your smoke back. Get this out of here. And the trucker convoy protest, that was a big story in the United States. And I think one of the reasons was because of this Emergencies Act the Canadian government did, a little controversial, freezing people's bank accounts and stuff, right? So they actually appealed all that. Did anything actually ever happen with that?
Intake cap for a period of 2 years. A temporary cap on new international student permits.
There has been a reliance on international students as a revenue stream, giving students no housing, no wraparound supports to succeed.
They're limiting student visas, student immigration to Canada? Okay.
All under arrest for civil contempt of court.
CBC Indigenous has obtained RCMP footage that has never been made public before. The video shows arrests at Coyote Camp on the Wet'suwet'en territory, a key location for the Coastal GasLink pipeline.
What is this? What? What's happening here? I don't understand. This was in January? This was at like the beginning of the year? I never heard about this. A lot of this stuff I've never heard about. This is good info. I'm learning about it a little bit late, almost a year later. That's okay. Better late than never. What's going on here? Why are they dragging people away from their home? Did they commit a crime? I'm a little confused.
On the Wet'suwet'en territory, a key location for the Coastal GasLink pipeline.
I love you right back.
This is 2 years after she announced that she had stiff person syndrome for the final award of the night. Album of the year, Celine Dion.
Stiff person syndrome? Stiff person. Not like stiff as in boring. That can be a disease. You're very boring. You're stiff person syndrome. This is a real thing. Jeez. Sounds bad. What does that do? Celine Dion? Oh my God. I think she's looking a lot. She looks fine. I didn't even know. I didn't know anything was wrong. And she seems okay. That's great.
comes out on stage looking fantastic.
My sincerest apology to the victim, to her family.
It's been nearly 6 years since a 20-year-old woman went to London police with allegations of a sexual assault at this London hotel, allegedly involving members of Canada's World Junior team.
Whoa.
5 members of the team, 4 of them current NHLers, were charged with sexual assault.
Whoa!
The Federal Auditor General says it's impossible to know the final cost of the pandemic-era ArriveCan app. The federal government expected to pay about $80,000 for the app's creation. In the end, it spent at least $54 million.
My God. Yeah, goodness knows during that time period, whether you were in Canada or the United States, there was a lot of crazy stuff going on. Some of it understandable, I guess, like, you know, kind of a world first pandemic thing. No one quite knew what to do, what to believe. Apparently Canada wasted $50 million on some app. Not sure what the app is, but goodness knows we probably had a lot of similar blunders in America. Probably wasted a lot more money than that, to be fair.
That giant storm that has been pounding Atlantic Canada. Cape Breton is under a local state of emergency.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna have rock-solid abs from this. It was about 20 feet. It took 9 hours.
What? What? No. What? No. You know, I've done other videos where I see Canadian snow. That's kind of insane, for lack of a better word. And I always ask, oh, is this fake? Is this real? This can't be true. Now I know it's true. This guy's got 20 feet of snow next to his house. It's kind of scary. I don't know if he should be standing right there. And that's kind of just asking for an avalanche.
Total to shovel it off. See that? Did you get to enjoy that with me?
The first steps towards that national pharmacare plan.
The federal government will cover diabetes medication and devices and birth control.
The Canadian government wasn't covering diabetes and birth control? They weren't doing that? I thought you had universally covered healthcare. I'm sure there's lots of random little things that maybe aren't covered. But we, in America, we use that word like, oh, Canadians, they have the universal coverage. No matter where you are in the universe, you're covered. No, that's not what that means. But everything, you get a lot of stuff covered for your healthcare, which is wonderful. And now, I didn't know there were things that weren't covered, actually. That's interesting to me, even though it sounds like they remedied that.
The Quebec Court of Appeal has upheld the province's secularism law in its entirety. The law prevents some civil servants, including teachers and police officers, from wearing religious symbols like hijabs while on the job.
Mulrooney.
Wait, it prevents them? It stops them from doing that?
Some law in its entirety. The law prevents some civil servants, including teachers and police officers, from wearing religious symbols like hijabs while on the job.
Really? That's surprising to me. In Canada, it's very multicultural, very diverse society, right? These people, you cannot wear certain religious garments and symbols while on certain jobs. Really? That kind of surprises me.
Mulrooney marked the history of this country time and time again, and now in his passing, Canadians may reflect on just how much he gave and how much he changed their country.
Our newest Walk of Famer, Eugene Levy.
Unveiling the star on the Walk of Fame from Hamilton.
I remember. I recognize this guy. He's from. I did a video on Schitt's Creek. He's pretty good, and he's been in like American Pie and stuff, right? He's funny. He's Canadian.
Into Hollywood, Eugene Levy.
Crisis in Haiti. Gangs have most recently captured the airport in Port-au-Prince.
We will be facilitating the travel of the most vulnerable Canadians in Haiti to the Dominican Republic.
This is pretty.
What? This is some of this stuff almost like I'll understand snippets here and there. Oh, look, the eclipse. I forgot about that. That was cool. But this Canadians in Haiti, I didn't hear anything about that. What was that? And you had to rescue them? Or people with guns? And what?
Incredible. So amazing. We can see the corona.
I heard about this eclipse when I was a kid. I've been waiting for it all my life.
This story is a sensational one.
Exactly 1 year after the largest single gold heist in Canadian history, a major break in the case. Police have now identified the alleged thieves and started making arrests.
Joyful new gold heist. I will say one thing, Canada, you endless entertainment, endless content. I don't like to joke about like things that are actually serious, but there's something funny about the biggest gold heist, like a gold heist, like Ocean's 11, like team of misfits getting together to rob a bank vault, gold heist.
News following weeks of anxiety. Video shared by the Ihatasat First Nation shows members attempting to lure a stranded orca calf. A high tide at 2:30 a.m. helped the 2-year-old clear the sandbar that had trapped her.
Oh no!
Protests at some of Canada's largest universities are both growing and spreading.
They want universities to divest from businesses that they accuse of supporting the war effort.
Oh yeah, this whole thing with Israel, Gaza, Palestine protesting at universities. That happened in America as well, exactly the same.
Because I'm a Redditor, I went directly to the Loblaws is Out of Control subreddit.
That boycott by some Canadians refusing to go into the Loblaw group of stores.
There are a lot of people talking about how they can't make ends meet.
Canada's biggest grocery chain has agreed to sign on to the National Grocery Code of Conduct.
It's a huge reversal.
Loblaws? I think, like, the prices are too high. People are protesting that the grocery store, you guys have one called Loblaws. It's kind of hard to say. Loblaws. Can barely get it. Anyway, did they ever lower their prices? They signed on to some kind of agreement? It's a lot better than any American company would do, that's for sure. You know Walmart isn't going to do that.
That wild chase on Highway 401 near Toronto ended with a fiery crash and a tragedy. The death of an infant and 2 grandparents. The suspect also died.
There's no justification for carrying on with a pursuit of that nature.
I remember this. This was in May. This was so many months ago. I remember this in one of my Canadian news videos. This crash. That was insane. So sad.
The police have made several arrests in connection to the shooting of Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
We are investigating if there are any ties to the government of India.
An allegation.
Okay, so I heard something about this. Barely heard about this. Someone was shot or assassinated, and then India was blamed, which made India real mad. I don't know. You can tell I don't really know what I'm talking about. Those are the random thoughts that I heard about this. Like, what?
Indian officials have angrily denied.
This pro-Palestinian encampment up on campus for just hours brought down in a flash and with a bang.
Oh, wow.
Police moving in using force to remove students and their supporters.
Women's professional basketball is coming to Toronto.
The city is getting a WNBA franchise, the first ever in Canada.
Nice. So you got a pro women's hockey league and the basketball league. Very nice.
Convicted BC serial killer Robert Pickton has died.
To be honest, I jumped up and down.
I'm honored to join you to commemorate the bravery and sacrifice of the Canadian troops who gave so much 80 years ago.
The death of Donald Sutherland, the Canadian actor, and his celebration.
Oh, this guy. I didn't know his name. He was in the Hunger Games. I didn't know he was Canadian, and I don't know his other work. But that's sad. Seems like he had a good career, though.
Career, the subject of so many tributes tonight. He loved what he did and did what he loved, and one can never ask for more than that, a life well lived.
Officials in Calgary are asking residents and businesses to strictly limit their use of water. It's because of a water main break northwest of the city.
Heartbreak for the Edmonton Oilers.
Sucks. Sucks.
I was praying for this and then we didn't make it.
The WestJet strike is over, but not the travel nightmare for passengers.
Needless to say, I'm quite upset.
Thousands of LCBO employees are on.
It's amazing how many things happened in Canada in 2024. I'm just kind of letting them go by now without stopping it. And it's like just so many huge news stories that got zero coverage in America. It's kind of incredible. Not in a good way.
On strike, and the liquor board retail stores are still closed.
Take a look at what happened.
Oh, yes. That was crazy.
All of us are going to have to do a reflection of what our current security is.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Toronto highway underwater, cars submerged, drivers stranded as torrential rain pounded southern Ontario.
I am so upset right now. That international IT outage that is affecting Windows systems around the world. It has caused disruptions to airlines, to businesses, banks, and healthcare systems.
Oh my god, there's so many, for lack of a better word, disasters happening around Canada, like natural disasters. 20 feet of snow for one guy, can't get in his house. Flooding in Toronto, they said. And then this digital disaster, like the Windows machines going down across the country. It's amazing, honestly, in this day and age. We're in the future, 2025. This kind of stuff shouldn't be happening. Although this is 2024, so I'm sure none of this will ever happen again from here on out.
CrowdStrike, a cybersecurity company, is at the root of these problems.
Stand up, Canada! You've got a gold medal from Macintosh!
Canada tops the podium and makes history along the way.
Yeah, wow. Oh, there she is!
There's Mom and Dad's house.
Devastating scenes of destruction inside the historic town site of Jasper, Alberta.
Jasper wildfires. That was a big story that I was learning about this year. The Jasper wildfires. Seems like it's finally kind of under control and trying to get back to normal. But this was crazy.
Homes leveled, cars burnt to shells.
Calgary is cleaning up after hail and heavy rain hit the city last night.
Exclusive details about Canada's role in the search for the Titan. This Canadian surveillance plane heard this underwater.
Oh, it was a Canadian surveillance that heard the knocking on the Titan. Now they think the knocking was kind of not really a thing, I think. And they really think those poor souls on that submarine basically had no chance. Even though they were searching for them for days, but the sub would have imploded like instantaneously, like with no. That was crazy too. So much of this stuff I'm remembering. It's like, remember when that submarine imploded? Yeah.
The forces were highly confident those sounds were man-made by an object striking a hull.
A third death has now been reported in connection to the listeria outbreak linked to Great Value and Silk plant-based milks.
This is what I mean. Death. What do you got to do out here? Death by submarine, death by almond milk. Is nothing safe?
A wild scene in Montreal. A giant geyser shoots water meters into the air after a major water main break.
Death by water geyser? Well, I hope no one died from this. I don't think so.
Both major Canadian railways off the tracks due to a labor dispute.
I am the first Canadian to...
A lot of strikes in Canada this year. I didn't even know about the train strike. There was the airline flight, this airline strike, train strike, Canada Post strike. Everyone's striking. Everyone's like, we need more money.
To win the World Air Guitar Championships.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Johnny Matthew.
The tragic and sudden deaths of NHL star Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew has sparked an outpouring of shock and grief.
Oh, is that the guy whose neck was cut by a skate? That was such a freak accident. That's so sad.
The brothers were killed by a suspected drunk driver.
Never mind. I think I'm laughing because of how horrific this is. They were killed in a drunk driving accident, which is just as horrible. But remember that hockey player? Maybe he was not Canadian, I guess, who got his neck cut by that skate. These guys got killed in a car accident. Man, I didn't hear about this, actually.
Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the supply and confidence agreement.
In this heated political climate, members of Parliament are becoming used to being followed and taunted.
Who said it?
Somebody behind
you
me said that.
Was it me? You sure? If it was me, I'd admit it. Was it you or not? If it was me, I'd admit it.
Though the threat of
Oh my God. I have never seen anything like this. I imagine politicians in the US are probably followed and harassed and filmed. Everything's filmed now. You can't talk to anyone. If you're a celebrity or whatever, politician, they definitely got a phone. They're like, hey, how's it going? You suck. They got the film. But man, this guy's getting worked up.
Was it me? You sure? If it was me, I'd admit it. Was it you or not? If it was me, I'd admit it.
Though the threat of inflation has largely subsided, many Canadians are still feeling crushed by the cost of living.
A tribute to all those who paid a price in a healthcare system tainted by racism.
The Canadian Medical Association is deeply sorry for the harms First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples have experienced and continue to experience in the Canadian health system.
The Liberal government has survived its first confidence vote.
Our crews love.
I don't know what the confidence vote. I feel like I heard of that too. Something to do with somehow the confidence vote does something that might trigger an election in Canada. Like if you're not happy with your government, is it like being impeached in America? If the president is impeached, it's like a vote of no confidence. Or I heard that phrase. Not super clear what it meant.
Canada to repair and in some cases replace the electric grid that was destroyed by the winds and the rain and the flooding in that part of the United States.
India is accused of widespread violence on Canadian soil.
It's absolutely unacceptable.
Ottawa expels India.
Oh, what is this? What kind of violence? They kicked out an Indian diplomat. That is substantial.
As diplomats, India does the same as the RCMP goes public with stunning allegations.
Homicides, extortions, and other acts of violence.
What?
Whoa. It was the first sign of a police offensive from Colombia to Canada. At the center of it all, this former Olympic snowboarder turned fugitive, now facing murder charges.
The final story of this election has not been written yet.
99% of votes have been counted. Why it could still take a week to know the winner.
We will reduce the number of immigrants we bring in, which will result in a pause in the population growth.
Another thing about the pausing the immigration to Canada. Is Canada just too full? Have you reached your limit? You know, I'm sure, immigration, legal immigration is good and all that. Diverse society, very good. I guess at a certain point, you just can't have any more people. That's, it's a sad fact of life, really.
Murray Sinclair, the former senator who led the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, has died. He will also be remembered for pushing Canada's painful history of residential schools to the forefront of our culture.
Thank you very much. Wow.
Donald J. Trump will be the next U.S. president.
Yeah, it's interesting how this is in the Canada recap for 2024. You better believe if there was a America recap, it's not going to have anything from any other country. But it is true that electing Trump as the next president is definitely going. We've already learned already. He's not even in office yet. That there's going to be significant ramifications, specifically to Canada, between the Canada and the U.S. So this deserves to be on this list for Canada. Yeah.
The 10 electoral college votes in Wisconsin takes him above the 270 electoral college vote threshold and takes him into the White House.
He's posted this on Truth Social. I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States.
Yep. I've done several videos talking about the tariffs and the Trump Canada debacle, and I won't spend too much time on this, but yeah, this is a big thing.
Taylor Swift's Toronto era continues.
It's the end of an era for Swift's record-breaking world tour.
We get to spend the last night of the Eras Tour with 60,000 beautiful people in Vancouver.
When Canada Post workers go on strike, the vast majority of letter mail just doesn't get delivered. With 55,000 workers on strike since mid-November. What do we want?
I could not believe the Canada Post strike. That you guys were literally not getting your mail delivered or sent. I feel like I'm shocked that doesn't like collapse a society. Most of business and communication, yes, we have email and the internet and cell phones, and a lot of it's still based on regular mail though.
When do we want it? It's missed out on an estimated 10 million package deliveries.
Those are the Toronto Argonauts back home and partying hard with fans after their Grey Cup victory.
Donald Trump keeps mocking Canada and making cracks about Justin Trudeau. At the Mar-a-Lago dinner, he joked that Canada could become the 51st state if he imposes tariffs that tank the Canadian economy. And on social media, he called Justin Trudeau the governor of the great state of Canada.
Oh yeah, Trump is full trolling Canada. And it is something to behold.
The Prime Minister briefed opposition leaders about his dinner with Donald Trump and called on them to present a united front for Canada.
I understand why President Trump wants to take Canadian jobs, but why is this Prime Minister trying to help him do it?
A turning of the page in Syria. After over 50 years of rule by the Assad family, it took just 2 weeks for the regime to fall.
Syria is a free country! This is Syria? What does this have to do with Canada, though?
Today, we lowered the policy interest rate by 50 basis points. This is our 5th consecutive decrease since June and brings our policy rate to 3.25%.
So you guys are lowering interest rates as well in Canada. That's been a theme here in America as well, trying to avoid a recession and all this stuff.
On December 14th, the GST will be removed from some food items, books, and toys. Small business owners say there have been plenty of headaches.
GST? GST? I think that's some kind of tax, maybe?
Just hours before Freeland was set to deliver an economic statement to Canadians, she revealed she was instead leaving cabinet. Writing to Justin Trudeau, "On Friday, you told me you no longer want me to serve as your finance minister." She said she and the Prime Minister have been at odds about the best path forward for Canada.
Someone from the Canadian government is quitting? Finance minister. Not sure what that is.
Canada. It's prompting more public calls for resignation from inside his own party.
Prime Minister is going to remain in office, sir.
Whoa! Whoa! There we have it. There we have that's 2024. What a recap. Oh my God. So many things happened in 2024. Some of that I kind of vaguely remember either reading about on a video or maybe hearing. In America, if it's really significant, you'll hear like one sentence about it. So some of this stuff I kind of was aware of-ish. Most of it, I feel like I had literally no idea. So much stuff happened in 2024. It's in the past. We're in 2025. We've made it out the other side. Although I'm sure a lot of these things are going to carry over into this year and be relevant, and we'll just see what the future holds. That's all you can do. And I'll be here along the way, reacting and learning as I do. And I did enjoy, recapping 2024. And I hope Canada has a great 2025, but we'll see, won't we? So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment if you're Canadian, your thoughts about everything that happened in 2024. That'd be really interesting to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and learning about Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.